Hey guys, it's me, Vinny Lospinuso, back with another vlog, another movie review. As you guys know, I've commented on the Sonic series multiple times on Zenny62 Media, and I have talked about my relationship with the first movie. Now, 2 years later, I saw the second movie opening day, just like the last one, in theaters with the packed house. I will definitely say there were a few more kids in this theater compared to the last one, because before it was like kind of mixed. This one kind of had a bit more kids, but I was okay with it. I sat near the front row, like right by the hallway. It was still fine for me. I was able to pick up on the sound really well. And I gotta say, what an incredible joyride the whole way through. Yeah, it was touching, honestly. Like the first movie, it starts with the same logo sequence in the same way. That's like the only logo sequence to ever make me choke up. The only one. There has never been one that has ever choked me up. Never happened before. I've seen many movies that never did once. Never happened. But this one was able to do it twice. Yeah, it's magical, honestly. It's so beautiful. In case you guys don't know, I've been following the series since I was like in kindergarten, and I've been following the details on the movie since it was announced back in 2014, back when no one thought it would ever be successful because it would be a live action environment. Now here we are 8 years later, and he already has not one but two movies with more on the way. Absolutely incredible, an amazing story of just determination and perseverance. And yeah, now let me just get into the review for the movie. I thought the action was really, really intense. I thought the way they used the cinematography was even better than the last movie. I even thought the effects almost looked like they were actually there. That's how crisp it was. Like my mom that was in the theater with me, along with my dad, my brother, my mom was impressed with how good the effects were. Like I've seen many Marvel MCU movies with a higher budget, and most of the effects in this movie looked better than a lot of those, despite having a budget of only $90 million. That's right, only $90 million was the budget for the making of this movie. The first movie only had a budget of like around 85 million. This one had a budget of 90 million, and they were able to have so many effects, so much, visual appetite. Like it, honestly, like you should probably make a case that the people in charge of the visual effects for this movie deserved Oscars with how impressive their effects were. Like Blur Studio did an absolutely amazing job for both of these movies, and this one they knocked out of the park yet again. I thought the acting for all the characters, whether that be, James Marsden and Tika Sumpter, Shamar Moore, Natasha Rothwell, Lee Majube, and, Jim Carrey, I think they all give it their best, and they gave it their all in this performance. They were having fun in their roles. They were having a great time. And for the voice acting, I thought they did a great job too. I thought Ben Schwartz had another great performance coming off the last movie. I thought having Colleen O'Shaughnessy there as Tails, the voice actress that played him in the games, also did a good job playing that sort of younger character, like a nice young 12-year-old. Sonic is like 14 in this one. And Knuckles playing that more brute, very like kind of lonely character. I thought Idris Elba had an absolutely amazing performance in the role too. I thought all three of them really bounced off each other really, really well, and I thought the chemistry was very there, especially considering that those are characters that are not actually there in person. They are there only, via computers. It really did have a good relationship with them and, the world itself, all of Earth. I thought they did a really good job meshing it. I mean, there were a couple scenes where sometimes it didn't look like they were there, but for the most part, they meshed very, very well with the environment. They meshed very, very well. Almost like they were part of the world itself. They were part of Earth, even though they're from Mobius. They're from another planet. That's where they are. I thought the story was better than the first one. Yeah, you could say a little bit paint by numbers, but I thought this one went into more depth with some of the characters. Now, I would have liked to see a bit more depth. I would have wanted to see more depth on Sonic's backstory, Tails' backstory, Knuckles' backstory. But I feel like considering they're building something huge here, I feel like they're going to feed us that information as time goes on. And I'm okay with that, especially considering we know we're getting more movies. I also think that the writing in general did a really, I think it was a step up from the previous movie. I felt like even though this one did still cater to kids a little bit, I still thought like it was straying away from that, and I felt like it was being more like a superhero film. I really do like that for the franchise, and especially as I really want these films for us to grow with the characters and to see while the stakes get higher and things get more serious. I also would want to see a situation in which, you know, the writing becomes a bit more mature. They start to act their age a bit more, and that's the case here. Like Sonic in the first movie was a little bit lonely. In this one, he's a bit more confident. He's slightly older. You can kind of tell that how his blue is a bit darker. He's a few inches taller. You could see that also in the way his delivery is. You could tell he's slightly older. I thought Tails did a good job too, though I also do wish that we could have seen a little bit more with him, because I felt like he was a bit of a plot device, but then again, you kind of had to throw in Tails in this movie. And I thought Knuckles was really, really interesting, and I can't wait to see where they do more with the echidnas. I thought the way they went about doing the Chaos Emeralds was very original in this one. I thought the way they also use, you know, an Enerjack reference from the Archie comics, the early Archie comics from the 90s, I thought that was also really interesting. I could love to see like a whole, you know, evolutionary timeline of how the echidnas end up being more anthropomorphized, and how that, you know, affected the rest of, you know, the alien species on Mobius. That would be something I'd really like to see. And I thought, you know, I don't think this is going to be Jim Carrey's last time as the character. I think he's doing that for a lot of publicity. I guarantee you that they want to make many more of these films, many more series. I honestly have more confidence in what they're doing here for Sonic than I have for what Warner Brothers is doing for DC. Because I think with Sonic, they have a plan in place for what they want to do for the foreseeable future, and they want to make this last as long as they possibly can. DC, it kind of feels like, even though I do like a lot of their movies, I really do like all of them actually, I do feel like there's still so many organizational and leadership changes that I'm not really sure if I can really truly trust them yet. And, you know, if I recall, I think Sonic's the first ever franchise that has been able to outdo DC, in this case of Birds of Prey for the first movie, and then for this one, the second one, overtaking Morbius. Yeah, it's a Marvel character and it's not part of the MCU, but it is a Marvel property, even though Sony's making it. They were able to beat them both, and both got seriously embarrassed. At least with Birds of Prey, it had positive word of mouth, and the people that went and saw it liked it. Morbius is getting absolutely shredded by critics and audiences, and the fact the hashtag Morbius sweep has made the movie somewhat of a meme. Not to mention, Sonic also opened the same weekend as Ambulance, a Michael Bay movie. So, and it's also coming up is going to be Fantastic Beasts, which is a Harry Potter spinoff. So Sonic has a real chance to be, I think, the only franchise to do better on like a weekend than a DC property, a Marvel property, a Michael Bay film, and a Harry Potter property. These are 4 massive names the last 20 years in filmmaking. Yes, even though it's not the MCU, it is still a Marvel property, and superhero films have gotten bigger. Yes, it's not the mainline DCEU. It's called Birds of Prey and involves Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, but it still is a DC property. And yes, Michael Bay was mostly with with the Transformers movies, but at the same time, his movies generally have made money. And for Harry Potter, even though it is a prequel series, it is a part of the wizarding world, and they still generated a lot of money. Granted, I will say that when it comes to movies like Morbius and like Fantastic Beasts 3, it has had a lot of controversy behind the scenes because of how many times Morbius has been pushed back, and the issue with Sony, and with Fantastic Beasts, the Johnny Depp situation, the Ezra Miller situation, people with J.K. Rowling, a whole bunch of stuff. But even then, Sonic was still a franchise that, when it was set to release in February, people still had serious doubts of how successful it would be. In fact, people thought it would only make like $20, $30 million. ended up doing like 58 million on its opening weekend and went to 70 million if you include President's Day. Now for Sonic 2, this one is already doing better than it's on. They're getting 71, 72 million in its opening weekend here in the States, and it's probably going to do better than the first movie did. The first movie would have done even better if it wasn't for the pandemic, but it made up for it for how well it did on streaming. It was the top streaming movie of 2020 for movies that already came out that weren't streaming exclusive, so that's a massive honor. And it was also the highest sold movie in physical sales throughout the whole nation. So those are two massive, massive achievements, especially as DVD sales have gone by the wayside. Sonic was still doing very, very well. I would not be shocked that this probably generated nearly $1 billion for Paramount, especially as they really, really need a franchise. Transformers did not go the way they wanted to. Tom Cruise is heading out with the last two Mission Impossible movies and Top Gun 2. Quiet Place is fine, but it's not the big franchise that's gonna be the face of the company. With their recent merger with CBS and with the introduction of Paramount Plus, they know that this needs to be their flagship franchise, and I really do think it's going to be their flagship franchise. I'm pretty sure they have at least like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 more movies that they're planning of right now, and I'm not even including maybe spin-offs, like spin-off series or a spin-off movie or 2 on Paramount Plus. Really, the future for this franchise is very, 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 very bright. And I think more and more people need to take it much more seriously, especially as it's been able to beat very well established brands at the box office. It's not bad for something that only 8 years ago people thought would do horrible. But those are just my thoughts for my non-spoiler review for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I would give this a movie a 9 out of 10. Maybe an 8 out of 10, but I would probably say, I'm in a good mood, so I'll go 9 out of 10. Give it an A ranking, A, B, C, D, F. I'd give it an A. I'd give it an A. I think that's a fair assessment for this movie. I would give it an A. I thought the pacing was really good. I thought the writing was really good. There were a couple things I thought, weren't for me, but at the same time, I'm still happy to see where it goes in the road. But that's my thoughts, guys. What did you think of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to Denny62 Media for more. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.